Hey friends, welcome to the Friday check-in with Happily Even After Betrayal and me, life coach Jen. So glad you're here. What I want to talk about is this week on my podcast. It's called The Divorce Labels That Hide Betrayal Pain. And I think for most of us, maybe it's possible we've never even discussed getting divorced. And then we found out our spouse is having an affair. And then it becomes a real question. The idea of separation, divorce, what do I do? Most people that I meet are in indecision. And so do they want to stay married and try to repair? Do they want to get divorced? I'm just going to say most people don't want to get divorced. They don't want to be married to someone that isn't willing to reconcile and admit what they did was wrong and change. And so we're choosing two hearts. I wanted to discuss it because I find the term amicable divorce hurtful because to me negates the fact that my husband was lying to me and cheating on me. And so I think for a lot of divorce terms that we can feel upset about it. And I just wanted to talk about it and talk about different options. Our thoughts are everything, especially when we're getting divorced, whether we're reconciling or not. But in divorce, our thoughts are important and to not get stuck in the shame and blame of it all. And so I just talk about some of the different terms. Of course, in divorce decrees, they usually put irreconcilable difference, which I don't agree with either because some of us are willing to reconcile, but it does take two people to reconcile. So check it out if you haven't had a chance to listen to it. I want to talk about this book. Okay, I met this woman just a few weeks ago. Her daughter introduced me, and she doesn't live in Utah. She lives in Arizona, but she wrote this book, and I'm going to put a link because if you want to hear someone's story about betrayal, it's so good. And the thing you may or may not know about me is I'm not a reader. I used to be a reader, and I get a lot of anxiety sitting down to read a book. So I like to multitask. I like to listen to books. I like to listen to podcasts. So I'm usually listening to something. I'm more into self-help and educational books, but that is how I read. But I actually read this book and I read it in about 2.5 days. And it's not a short book. It's an easy read. I'm going to say painful, but she describes betrayal. She does a beautiful job telling her story, and it's heartbreaking, but I think hearing other people's stories, I'm going to have her on my podcast soon so you can hear more. If you're like, I just don't have time to read, then we will give you the Cliff Notes version. But anyways, I just wanted to share that because just like me, she focuses on hope. I just want you to know that there is hope in healing and it is totally possible. I believe that so much, which is exactly why I do what I do, because I want you to know that. And you might not know that right now, and that's okay, but it is possible. Lastly, I want to share a lot of you, I call this clean pain and dirty pain of betrayal. And what I mean by that is there is a lot of emotions, a lot of negative emotions attached to betrayal. Anger, disappointment, sadness, so much grief, frustration, any negative emotion you could think of is attached to betrayal. I think we feel it all. Some of us do. Some of us avoid it or resist it or react to it. But in general, there is so much negative emotions attached to betrayal. And so it's important to feel those emotions. And I call that clean pain. That is healthy. That is moving you through the river of misery to get to happiness and joy and peace and calm. But we have to go through it. We can't stay stuck in the river. That is what I call dirty pain. And what I mean by dirty pain are things like fear will keep us stuck in dirty pain, having a pity party, feeling sorry for ourselves, revenge, bitterness, jealousy, all of those type of emotions, shame and judgment. Just envision we have our clean pain. There's a layer of clean pain. And then we just put on top of this the dirty pain. The dirty pain will keep you stuck and miserable. If you've stayed stuck in betrayal, pain, and trauma for a long time, it's because there's probably dirty pain. And I'm not telling this to sit and judge yourself. It makes sense, but it is not going to get you to where you want to go, which is peace and calm and joy and happiness and all those happy emotions, right? I was listening to a podcast and I loved how she brought up in Buddhism, which I'm not a Buddhist, but it's good to hear things from other people. But in Buddhism, they call it an arrow. The first arrow that hits our heart, especially after we've been betrayed, is the sadness, the devastation, the anger. And I think anger can go in clean pain and dirty pain, but there is some healthy anger for sure. so that first arrow hits us, right? And it gets in our heart. The problem is the second arrow. The second arrow is the dirty pain. And that is the pity party, the bitterness, the revenge. So I just want you to pay attention. If you can at least name your emotion, what are you feeling? And is it coming from shame and judgment? And is it dirty pain? Because that arrow is going to hurt and create negativity for your life so much more than the first arrow. The first arrow isn't optional. The second arrow is optional. The dirty pain is optional pain. And we think our spouse made us feel all those things. No, it's our thoughts about our spouse that made us feel all those negative emotions. So remember, our spouse is our circumstance and whatever they did. And I'm not saying we want to be happy about it. No, we will have a lot of clean pain, but it's our thoughts about what they did. That's what's causing all of our emotional pain. And so we need to become aware. When we can become aware of what we're feeling, name what we're feeling so we can process it and move through the river of misery to get to the other side, to peace and calm and happy again. Joy. It is possible to feel joy again. Did you know that? I just wanted to share that with you. I've been thinking a lot about it because so many people I meet, they have, of course, a layer of clean pain that feels maybe protective. They're not ready to let it go, but then they get consumed with that dirty pain, that second arrow, and that is what's keeping you stuck. This week, up until May 15th, I have my Stop Suffering Reset happening, and I think it's amazing. I think it's a no-brainer, right? Because it has my 6-week video course you get that forever along with the worksheet, and then 2 coaching sessions with me, as well as on-demand coaching for 2 weeks. If you really want to do a deep dive into your healing, it's going to take longer than 2 weeks, but at least it gives you a taste of what coaching is all about. We all know, most of us know, especially if we've experienced betrayal, therapy. Now, I think therapy is amazing, and therapy and coaching are such a great tool to use together if you can. But coaching for me really took me over to the other side of true healing. I did a lot of healing in therapy, but I did even more through coaching because it empowered me. It gave me the tools that I needed to create what I wanted in my life. And so I want to share that with you. So sign up for my Stop Suffering Reset. It could be life-changing. This decision, one little decision, could really change your life and the trajectory of your healing. So I hope you do. I have a few spots left, and that's going until May 15th. Anyways, have a beautiful day. I'm so glad you're here. And for those of you moms out there, happy Mother's Day. And I guess I'm not done because I'm going to say something about Mother's Day. And just remember, you don't have to be a perfect mom. Nobody is perfect. There isn't a perfect human on the earth. We can love our kids. We can show up for them, and you get to do whatever you want. So if you want a day of taking a nap and resting and everyone has cereal for dinner, go for it. Whatever you want, see if you can create in your life because you can. My greatest thought for being a mother is I'm the world's okayest mom. And I love that thought because it gives permission to make mistakes sometimes and to be pretty awesome other times. And it gives me the pressure of not having to be perfect because I'm not perfect, and my kids for sure let me know that I'm not perfect, but I am so grateful to be a mother. It's been one of my greatest joys in my life. Love all of you moms out there or want to be moms out there, and all of you dads that are also moms sometimes, right? Especially for those of you that are divorced and you have to fill in for that sometimes too. But anyways, have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you next Friday.